The next phase of getting the actual carcass ready to go is to install these middle door dividers. There's going to be one right here and one right here. And then there's going to be just a little spacer at the end over there and on this side as well. I've got the measurements laid out. I'm going to go off the measurements a little bit and also go by eye and just to see if I can get it all even. I'm not so worried about getting it exactly precisely according to plan. I just want it to be even the way I spaced it. So there'll be room for one door here and then a divider, two doors in the middle, then a divider, and then one more door. And so since all the doors are about just under 12 inches wide, they're 11 7/8. I'm going to go use that as my measurement. But I'm going to take off these two rails, clamp them together, measure across for each piece, measure and mark where they're going to be, not measure, I'm going to lay it across each piece, mark where they're going to go, and then I will finish forming the tenon. I got to relieve the sides on it, on the shoulders. I got to make a shoulder on each side. And then I will mark each piece specific to where it's going to go and then cut the mortises for that. So again, I'm just going to lay it across like that, but both at the same time. Mark it and then start laying it out from there. So I'm just going to show you what I'm doing, show you the process along the way. I'm not going to narrate much because it's pretty self-explanatory. It's just a couple mortises. But these are all very, this one, if you can tell, this piece here is thinner than this piece by, I don't know, a little bit less than an 1/8 inch, maybe about an 1/8 inch. And that's just because it bowed really bad at one point, and so I had to remove some stock to square it up, or to true it up. But my hinges are small enough that they will fit on this without going over. So it's okay, you know, nobody will really ever notice. I'm fine with it. So what that did mean though is that I had to make a smaller shoulder on the front here of the tenon. So no big deal. I've already got that up in my mind here, and I'm gonna make sure that I do everything right. So. Alright, so what I did is I measured out my distance from here, because there's going to be a spacer, and I did it on the other side. I took measurements off the top and bottom, just so that way I wouldn't rely on any, if it's out of square all across this. The lines they meet right in the middle, which is where they need to be. The mortises will be in the middle of these two boards, so I need those to line up. They line up here. I laid the piece over it to make sure I get the right measurements. Those are the critical measurements there. And then now I'm just going to measure from the inside of the lines here. Just putting my thumb there as a stop. All the way down to the other line. And I get 23 3/4, which is exactly what I need it to be. So I'm happy about that. I'm going to proceed with marking out my mortises. I can unclamp all this now. I can proceed with marking out my mortises and actually do them. This should be pretty good, I hope. We'll see what happens. At this point, it's just a matter of clamping this sucker down. Just barely have enough. Since I have a 1/4 inch chisel here, I'm going to be careful prying against it, but I should be okay. Now I've had to add that clamp because there's a bit of a upward bow in that top rail and it's pulling apart. So I'll probably end up having to pin that with a dowel, which is no big deal. But I must say, this is looking great. Thanks for watching. I hope it's been enjoyable and useful, and I'll see you around for the next one.